please welcome the beautiful Anne-Mette with her speech, Stop the World, I Want to Get On, How to Reassemble an Identity When You Are No One to Nobody.
Thank you. When they say the one thing that never stops is time, they're wrong. I'm here to tell you a story about life and death. A story about fighting and losing, about bargaining for time when there's none left. I'm here to tell you a story about when my life literally disappeared from beneath me. Everything stopped. To me, even time stopped. But in fact, time moved on without me. I'm here to share a valuable message, one that you'll probably struggle to believe. But I have the scars to prove it. I always wanted to become an actress, even so bad that my dad, who was a painter, spray paint my Barbie gold so that I could thank the Academy, my parents, and God for the Oscar I had just received. When I was 20, I got accepted into the Danish Musical Academy. And there I was on my first day with my 14 fellow students. And the girl next to me said, I have been singing since I was 9. I've been dancing since I was 3. And then it was my turn. And the school had taken a chance on me. I had never sung or danced before. So I said, hi, my name is Anne-Mette. I've done some acting and I have shoe size 39. What more could I say? Well, 3 years later, of blood, sweat, and tears, I finished second in my class, and I was ready to take on the world. My first job led me to Cologne, Germany, to do We Will Rock You, the Queen musical, 8 shows a week, 1 year, in front of 2,300 people. And one day, as I walked out of the stage door, there was a fan greeting me. She had been driving 5 hours just to see me, and to congratulate me on my birthday, and to give me a birthday cake she had baked. Apparently a Danish one, but I have never tried anything like it. As we stood there talking, suddenly she said, thank you so much for giving me your precious time. And I said, but you've been driving 5 hours to see me. I am the one who should be grateful. That's different, she said. You're a star. You're special. And I got really, really angry with her, saying, just because what I do for a living is out in the public doesn't make me worth more than you, or my time more precious. Well, we couldn't see eye to eye on that one, but I kept thinking about this one fan, and it kept puzzling me. One big role led to the other, and I did one big production after the other. And although I had made it, I still kept feeling like this insecure little girl all alone, lost at sea. Sometimes I wonder where I've been, who I am, do I fit in? I may not win, but I can be thrown out here on my own. Out here on my own. After 10 years in the business, I moved to Berlin. And there I met the man of my dreams. I thought he was the one. So I didn't blink for a second when he said he wanted to move back to Denmark. And so we did. And although I still had gigs in Germany and would start my first production in Denmark, I was ready to settle down. I was ready to start a family. So I started my first production, We Will Rock You, the Queen musical, making that the 3rd production of that show I'd ever done. And just 1 week before the premiere, we found out that I was pregnant and that I'd lost the baby. So I had to go through an abortion at home, and my boyfriend, he was happy because he didn't want to be a father. So I had no sympathetic shoulder to cry on. And as I stood that night, the opening night of We Will Rock You in the O2 Arena, I was still bleeding. But as they say, the show must go on, right? And sure did. We found out that my mom had cancer. They operated on her, and they were pretty certain they had gotten everything. But just to be sure, they gave her radiation therapy and chemotherapy. And while she was undergoing that, we received a call from the hospital saying, "We have your dad. We've put him in an artificial coma. You have to come and say your goodbyes." But how could my dad be dying? He's the most important man of my life. And we were scared of losing our mom. I rushed to the hospital, and there my strong dad was, hooked on a machine with tubes all over. And as I went in to say my goodbye, I realized I had lived consciously with my dad my whole life. When people lose a dear one, what they always say is, "I regret not having said," or "Why didn't I ask?" And I had said everything I needed to while he was still alive. And I'd asked all the important questions I had to ask him while he could still hear me. And he knew how I felt about him, and vice versa. It didn't make my goodbye much easier, but it helped me afterwards knowing that I had received a gift I didn't know existed. The gift of pure, utter, present, unconditional love. The next day, me and my brother stood in our childhood home packing down ours and their lives to move my mom to a smaller place close to my brother. And just to buy time to do that, we decided to have my dad cremated and have the funeral 1 month later. The day of the funeral, the undertaker calls my brother, saying, "I'm just checking, are you supposed to get the urine or was I supposed to get it?" And my brother was like, "We decided you should get it," looking at me going, "Wow, so Dad almost missed his own funeral." And this was actually a standing joke, because my dad was this eccentric, extraordinary man and artist, and he was notoriously late and had his very own perception of time. And we used to joke about that Dad would even be late for his own funeral. Well, thank God he wasn't, right? An hour before the funeral, the priest calls my mother, saying, "I want you to sit down. Something has happened, and I can totally understand why you want to call off the funeral." "Why would I want to call off the funeral?" my mom said. "Well, this is really difficult to say, but your husband is still in the freezer. They forgot to cremate him." They forgot to cremate my dad? I mean, seriously? Who does this happen to? This is like a Monty Python sketch. But right in my dad's spirit. So we decided to go along with the funeral, and it was a beautiful ceremony. The church was packed with people, flowers all over. I even gave a speech, looking at a table with a picture of my dad and an empty urn. So yes, in fact, Dad was late for his own funeral. But the struggle continued right after that. We found out that my mom's cancer was back, and there was nothing more they could do. She was terminal. So I took a leave of absence to be with her and to take care of her and comfort her. You have to imagine, she just lost the love of her life, and she was dying too. And we fight for the ones we love. And I did what I could, but I was still just a little girl who had just lost her daddy. Shortly after, I got an offer to do 2 musicals over the spring and the summer in Germany. And I called them and said, "Look, here's the deal. My dad just died, and my mom's going to be dying too soon. And worst case scenario, I would have to leave during the production. And if you still want me, you need to have an understudy ready to go on for me. And also, I need more time." I negotiated time to go to see my mom for 10 hours every week. And I asked my mom, should I do it? And she said, yes, I really want you to. Germany accepted, and off I went. I did my first premiere, and I was ready to go on for the next. Put on my costume, put on my wig, and I was ready to do one of my dream roles, Rizzo in Greece. There are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two. Even though the neighborhood thinks I'm trashy and no good, I suppose it could be true, but there are worse things I could do. I could flirt with all the guys, smile at them and bat my eye, press against them when we dance, make them think they stand a chance, then refuse to see through. Well, that's the thing I'd never do. I could stay home every night, wait around for Mr. Right, take cold showers every day, and throw my life away on a dream that could be true. I could hurt someone like me, out of spite or jealousy. I don't steal and I don't lie, but I can feel and I can cry. A fact I bet you'd never knew, but to cry in front of you. Hello? Okay, I'm coming. It was the hospice saying this is it. So I dropped everything and drove to Denmark to spend the last hours, days, maybe a week with my dying mom. But you don't know how sick a person can get before they actually die. So I ended up spending 5 weeks sleeping on the couch in the hospice with my dog next to me, listening to her screaming and moaning in pain every day and every night, watching her tiny body deteriorate more and more until she only weighed 39 kilos. And I realized we had the luxury of time, although we thought she was dying every day for those 5 weeks. And I realized I had not lived consciously with my mom as I did with my dad. She was a much more private person. So once I got up the courage, I started to asking her the questions that would haunt me after she was gone. When did I disappoint you the most? When were you the most proud of me? How can I honor you once you're gone? And I love you. Exactly 1 year to the day and 1 hour to the minute after my father had passed, my beautiful mom too took her last breath in my arms. Making that the 23rd of July at 11 o'clock, the exact same day that me and my brother would be sitting at the undertaker's office planning the next funeral. And of course, we made sure that they cremated the body this time. It was a beautiful small ceremony. And I remember going back that night to her small, new, very unused apartment, thinking, I have the luxury. I can finally let go. I can mourn, I can grieve all those terrible things that have happened this awful year. Nothing more can possibly go wrong. So I was very surprised when the phone rang that night, telling me that my best friend, My soulmate, my one chosen family, had been found dead in his apartment in Berlin, 45 years old. Will this never end, I thought? And of course it wouldn't, because just a month after that, my boyfriend of 5 years decided to break up with me for having been too gloomy for too long, rendering me homeless. But we're fighters, so we need to keep going. So I found a very small, humble apartment for me and my dog. He was the only one I had left. And I started dating again. And I was ready to start my next musical in Denmark that December when I finally cracked. The boat had been taking in water for too long, and I finally sank. My oldest friend came over and had me enlisted into the psychiatric ward. Six months later, I woke up in a hospital bed with burn marks on my forehead from electroshock therapy, doped on 14 different antipsychotics and antidepressants, in a body I didn't recognize, in a mind that wasn't my own. I woke up to a reality that didn't remotely resemble the life that I'd led. The seemingly invincible leading lady was gone. Everything they had seen on stage, gone. So I'm asking you this. How do you reassemble an identity when you're no one to nobody? You wake up and you're no one's daughter, no one's best friend, no one's mother, no one's girlfriend, and no one's star. I woke up wanting to place the blame on someone. Whose fault was it that I had gone through so much pain, and how could they take responsibility for it? We're taught, if you break it, you buy it. It wasn't my fault that my parents died when they did, or that my best friend committed suicide on the day of her mother's funeral, that I lost my boyfriend, lost a baby, lost my home, lost my job, and essentially lost my mind. But it sure damn was my responsibility to deal with it. It was my responsibility to heal and create a happy life for myself, despite of my misfortunes. It doesn't really matter whose fault it is that something is broken. But it sure as hell is your responsibility to fix it, to take that pain and to overcome it and turn it into something useful. You have to imagine, this is only 3 months ago, this June, that I woke up. But I started to mend my scars. I started to look past the pain and past the flaws, into the pain, beyond the doubt, and towards the potential. I realized I was not everything that had happened to me. I was everything I became while I healed. I was like a kintsugi vase. For those of you who don't know it, it's the Japanese art of repairing damaged pottery with gold. It not only restores functionality to a broken vessel, but it also adds beauty and worth from the gold. It turns the brokenness into the most valuable part of the piece, understanding that I was in fact more beautiful and more complete for having been broken. Life is a never-ending sea of trouble. The quality of our lives is not defined by our search for safe shores, but by our ability to navigate that treacherous sea of trouble. After the burn marks had healed, I got off the drugs and I realized it was okay to show my scars to the world, because I was not the victim of circumstance. I was, and I still am, the carefully mended leading lady of my own life. Thank you.